Okay, now it's time for the final report of this. Of course, is of the U.S. numbers. Let's get these. Let's just get these numbers rolling right along here now. And one of the things that's curious about the way the U.S. tracks these numbers is that, for instance, COVID-19 or diseases like cancer and heart disease, the deaths are counted 1 year at a time. So every year on December 1st or January 1st, the count for cancer and heart disease is set back to zero. But yet, with as you'll see with me on as you'll see with me as you'll see here with in the U.S. The COVID-19 case and deaths are being counted from the first case in January 2020 and from the first death in February 2020, all the way up until today, which is kind of which I think to a certain extent can it can look pretty depressing. We go back, we look in, all the way back, we look at the total numbers by year, and it's like, wow, what's the point? It obviously isn't working. Rather than focus on the here and now, okay, the people want to go back and look at the entire history of COVID-19 in America, okay? So anyway, since January of 2020, we have 46.25 million cases. And since the very end of February 2020, we've had 750,424. Now, currently, we're averaging 71,000, a little over 71,000 cases per day, which projects out over the next 12 months to 25.9 million new cases. Okay, we're currently averaging about 1,222 cases per day. That projects out over the next 365 days to 446,000 plus deaths next over the next 12 months. Okay, so what we're concerned with here is a trend. You can see, like many countries, the U.S. had a long declining trend in cases all the way down to July. Then in July, we had this big spike back up here, okay, followed by a downward tick. Okay, so you can see here, now the question is this, was this Delta variant? Were these people vaccinated, or was this just people who caught the mainstream line of the COVID-19 virus? What about deaths? Again, long declining pattern of deaths up until July. Then in July, we saw an increase in deaths again before falling back down right towards the end of September. Okay, and the question again is this here: how many of these people were vaccinated? Okay, that's the real question. How many of these people were vaccinated? So we already know what the distribution is. We can still see 2021 cases will pass 2020, has passed 2020 cases, and 2021 deaths has passed 2020 deaths. But we also know we had a long declining pattern. If it wasn't for this here, we'd have had a pretty good year. Okay, so is this it? Is this it for the fall? That's the question. Is this the fall wave, or is this just a hiccup caused by Delta variant? Nonetheless, like clockwork, the numbers go up in the fall, down in the spring, up in the fall, down again. Same way with deaths. Okay? Quarters. Unfortunately, the third quarter of 2021 was the third most cases for any quarter so far. And the deaths for 2020, the deaths for the third quarter of 2021 was the third most for any quarter so far. Now we can just take a quick look at some numbers here. So you can see here, cases spiked on January 8th at 303,187 for a single day before declining all the way down to as low as 4,652 back in July, then increasing back up again, spiking at 277,142 on September 8th, on September the 7th, and finally falling back down again on on November the 1st at 125,473 cases for a single day, with an average of 74,546 cases per day. What about deaths? The same pattern. Deaths spiked on January 20th at 442,000. No, 4,442,000 deaths, okay? Long declining pattern, falling all the way down to 153 deaths on July 31st, before spiking again on September the 16th at 3,459 cases, okay? A long declining pattern in weekly cases again. Almost as quickly as these numbers spiked, they began to fall back down again, okay? What about deaths? We can see deaths are below 5,000 this week. Again, long declining pattern, then a big spike back up here. Monthly cases, well, you can look here, you can see monthly cases, a very low pattern down here in spring and summer. Then we had a 2-month increase. Now you can see here, let's call this September and October. So October was the second month in a row, okay? For that cases decline. Now what about this here? Look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months in a row deaths decline before beginning to do a 2-month increase again. Probably in July, yeah, 2 months increase in July. Then in October, deaths fell down a little bit more. Now here's the question for us. Okay, for every 100,000 people in the U.S., how many people have COVID-19 cured? Well, right around 25. Now this is a very unscientific way of doing this, but it's just something to think about. You know, 25 for every 100,000 people, roughly 25 people in the U.S. currently have COVID-19. No, let me phrase it. Of these people here, of the 100,000, for every 100,000 people in the U.S., 25 have tested positive for COVID-19. There's many more who probably have and were never tested. Okay, what about deaths again? Well, you can see here. This is 50 deaths. This is one half of a person. That's right. I said one half of a person. So currently, for every 100,000 people in the U.S., one half of a person is dying from COVID-19. Okay. So that does conclude all of our analysis for today. Now becomes the fun part of uploading this data. And after this, I'm going to go over and I'm going to spend some time with Yuko on data, YouTube. Okay. So we need to upload the data.